used to tell myself I was just bad at cooking. That was the story I repeated whenever someone asked why I ordered so much delivery. I would stand in my kitchen at 7:30 on a Tuesday, stare at a pan I had not cleaned from Sunday, smell the faint trace of old oil, and order Thai food before I could talk myself out of it. $32, $41, $28. It did not feel like a decision. It felt like gravity, like the floor was tilted toward the delivery app, and I was simply rolling downhill, gathering speed, unable to stop. I told myself it was laziness. I told myself I worked hard and deserved the convenience. I told myself everyone did it. I would feel the relief before the food even arrived. The relief of not having to decide what to cook. The relief of not having to stand in front of a stove and feel like a failure at a basic human task. The app was not just food. It was a pause button on my own expectations. It was a way to exit my life for 28 minutes. But last year, I tracked every dollar for 30 days, and the numbers did not say laziness. They said something I still flinch from when I remember it in the dark. $312. That was the total for takeout alone. Not groceries, not coffee, not the occasional lunch with a friend. Just food arriving at my door in plastic containers, while my refrigerator hummed in the corner with vegetables slowly turning to soup. $312 in 30 days. And here is what hurt. I did not even enjoy half of it. I would open the container, eat 4 bites while staring at my laptop, barely tasting the spice, and throw the rest away. I was not feeding myself. I was feeding a feeling. And the feeling was, I am not okay. And if I just make tonight easy, maybe tomorrow will be different. Maybe tomorrow I will wake up as someone who has her life together. Maybe tomorrow the kitchen will not feel like evidence. I want to be careful here. This is not a story about how I learned to meal prep on Sundays and now my life is a grid of glass containers. I do not want to stand in front of you with a container of quinoa and a subtle smile, implying that organization cured my loneliness. This is a story about the armor I did not know I was wearing and how heavy it got before I noticed the weight pressing on my chest. The tracking started on a Monday. I bought a small notebook with thin paper, the kind that wrinkles if you breathe on it. I wrote down every purchase by hand, the way you might write down dreams if you wanted to embarrass yourself later. Coffee, $4.50. App subscription. I forgot to cancel, $9.99. Takeout, $34. Gas, $42. Laundry detergent, $11. A magazine I did not read, $6.50. I wrote them in pencil because pencil felt less permanent, less accusatory. I told myself I was just curious, just data gathering. But by day 9, I was avoiding the notebook. I would make a purchase and feel a small dread about recording it, not because the number was large, because the pattern was becoming visible. And the pattern looked like someone trying to patch holes with small conveniences, like using tape to fix a leak in a boat. I noticed the timing first. The orders came on Tuesdays and Wednesdays without fail. The middle of the week, when my energy was lowest and my inbox was fullest, and the weekend felt like a myth from another country. I noticed the repetition. The same restaurant, 3 blocks away. The same dish, medium spice. The same note to the driver, leave at door. I did not want to see the driver. I did not want to be seen. I wanted the food to appear like a gift I gave myself, silently, without witness, without the performance of gratitude. By day 17, I saw the mechanism. I was not ordering because I was hungry. I was ordering because I was lonely. And the arrival of a warm bag at my door felt like someone had checked on me. The app even said it in cheerful letters. Your order is on the way. Like a promise. Like care. Like someone out there knew I was tired and was doing something about it. $32 for the simulation of being looked after. $41 for the performance of self-care without the substance. Here is the quiet pain sentence. Sometimes, when I threw away the leftovers, I would wash the plastic container in the sink under hot water, scrubbing the oil, and wonder if this was the only thing I would do for myself that day. That is the mid-peak. That is the part I still feel in my throat when I say it out loud. That is the sentence that arrives uninvited when I am doing dishes now. I started mapping it to other parts of my life. The ride shares when the bus was only 8 minutes away and the weather was fine. The premium streaming subscriptions I forgot I had, auto-drafting while I slept. The convenience fees I paid to avoid a 5-minute phone conversation. They were not isolated incidents. They were the same armor, cut to different sizes, tailored for different wounds. Every small purchase was a way to say, I do not have the bandwidth for reality right now, so I will buy a softer version. I will buy a version where I do not have to try. The ride shares were not about transportation. They were about avoiding the crowd on the train, the eye contact, the performance of being fine in public. I would stand on the corner and watch the bus pull away, telling myself I had just missed it, even though I had not tried to catch it. Then I would open the app and summon a car that arrived in 4 minutes, driven by someone who asked no questions. $23 to avoid being seen by strangers who might notice I was barely holding together. The forgotten subscriptions were not about entertainment. They were about maintaining the illusion that I had options, that my evenings were full of potential, even when I only slept through them on the couch. The convenience fees were not about saving time. They were about avoiding the small friction of human interaction, because human interaction felt like a debt I could not pay, a language I had forgotten. I want to tell you about one night in particular, day 23 of the tracking. I had a rough meeting at work. Nothing dramatic, just the slow erosion of a project I cared about, worn down by emails and compromises. I came home and opened the delivery app without thinking. My thumb knew the path. I ordered pad thai and spring rolls and a Thai iced tea I did not want. The total was $41. The show was something about houses, people choosing wallpaper. I remember the color blue. I remember thinking, they know what they want. I do not know what I want. I ate 3 bites while watching people choose tiles I would never afford. I put the container in the fridge. I threw it out 3 days later. The noodles fused into a single pale mass. When I opened the container, the smell hit me first, then the shame. And I realized, standing at my trash can in my socks, that I had not ordered food. I had ordered a feeling that did not exist. I had paid $41 for a version of myself that was relaxed and taken care of, and the delivery came, but the feeling never did. The bag was warm. I was not. That was the turning point. Not because I stopped ordering takeout. I did not stop. I still order it. But I slowed down. I started asking a different question. Not, do I want this? The answer to that was always yes, immediately, without hesitation. I started asking, what am I trying not to feel right now? And if the answer was hunger, I ordered. If the answer was something else, I paused. Sometimes the answer was grief I had not named. Sometimes it was anger at myself for a mistake I had made earlier. Sometimes it was a loneliness so old I had stopped naming it. Sometimes it was the particular shame of not replying to a text from my mother. Sometimes it was just the heavy, wordless exhaustion of being a person in a world that asks for too much constant performance. And in those moments, the app could not help. The app could bring noodles, it could not bring rest, it could not bring the version of me I was paying for. I have learned that my small spending is a language. $1 is a word. $300 is a sentence. And for a long time I was writing, I am overwhelmed, I am invisible, I am tired. Please do not make me try harder. I was broadcasting on a frequency only my bank statement could hear. And my bank statement listened without comment, month after month, draining quietly. The real-life observation? My grocery receipts from the same month were $94 total. $94 for food. I prepared myself. Slowly, badly, sometimes with smoke detector screaming, sometimes with rice. That was either soup or stone. Eggs, bread, a bag of spinach that wilted before I touched it, and chicken I cooked until it was leather. I stood at the stove and cried once because the smoke alarm would not stop and I could not reach it, and everything felt like too much. $312 for food that arrived in 28 minutes and left me feeling exactly as empty as before. The math was not about money. The math was about substitution. I was substituting care with convenience, and convenience was a terrible caregiver. It arrived quickly and left no trace. It did not remember my name. It did not ask how I was. I started making one change. Not a resolution, not a 30-day challenge, just a question. Before I opened the app, I asked myself, what would actually make tonight feel manageable? Sometimes the answer was still takeout. More often, it was a shower. Or a text to a friend I had been avoiding because I did not want to explain myself. Last month, I texted a friend I had not seen in a year. I said, I am struggling and I do not know why. She replied in 4 minutes. She said, me too. We did not solve anything, but I did not order food that night. I made toast. It was enough. Or putting on a song I liked in high school and standing in the kitchen while pasta boiled, not looking at my phone. The pasta was not good. It was overcooked. But the kitchen was warm, and I was there for it, and that was a kind of care the app could not deliver in a plastic bag. I have learned to leave the notebook open on the counter now, not as a spy, not as a punishment, but as a witness. It does not judge, it just watches. And when I see the numbers adding up, I do not scold myself. I ask, what happened this week? What was too loud? What did I need that I did not know how to name? And sometimes I write the answer next to the number. Takeout, $38. Bad review at work. Takeout, $29. Could not sleep. It looks strange. It feels true. The quiet rule I have learned to carry with me is this. I ask myself what I am feeding before I ask what I am hungry for. That is not a command. It is a practice. I fail at it. Last week, I ordered sushi twice. Once because I was sad. Once because I was celebrating a small win. Both times, I wrote it down. Both times, I looked at the number and said, okay, this is what happened. This is where I was. This is not a crime. This is information. I am not okay every day. I used to hide that with $32 bags of pad thai and spring rolls I did not finish. Now I try to hide it less. I try to let the kitchen be messy and my food be uneven and my evenings be quiet without buying a soundtrack. The $300 has not dropped to zero. Some months it is $120, some months it is more. But it is no longer invisible. It is no longer armor. It is just a choice I make with my eyes open. And sometimes I make it differently. That is what I wanted to tell you. Not a fix, not 5 steps, just a map. If you are tracking your spending and the numbers confuse you, if you know you are not greedy but the total keeps climbing in quiet ways, look at the timing, look at the days, look at what you were avoiding when you pressed purchase. The receipt knows more than the wallet. And you deserve to know what you are really paying for. You deserve to know that you were not broken. You were just speaking in dollars because no one had taught you the words for what hurts. And now that you are learning, the language will change. The spending will change. Not because you forced it, because you finally understood what you were saying.